Okay, good afternoon. I'm live now. I'm going to make this quick because we're going to share a screen, a screen, and just listen to. Ah, heck. Let's see. So that ain't what I want. Okay, we can listen to this one. This isn't the one that I really want. That's the one we're going to listen to. Lawrence O'Donnell slams his papers. Okay, share. So wait a minute.
Lawrence O'Donnell wasn't having it with cable news outlets for their coverage of former President Donald Trump's rambling, false claim-filled press conference on Thursday. The MSNBC anchor read a good question to Trump from NBC News' Garrett Hawk, who asked the former president if he'd direct the Food and Drug Administration to revoke access to mifepristone. Trump's response to the yes or no question was not an answer, said O'Donnell, who slammed his papers on his desk after reading what the former president told Hawk. The words Donald Trump spoke to those reporters in response to that clear, simple, and important yes or no question were an insult to everyone in that room, and they took the insult. Nothing in those words was an answer, nothing, O'Donnell said. He later continued, Donald Trump is not smart enough to answer questions. Anyone who then tells you that Kamala Harris has to answer questions from reporters because Donald Trump already answered questions from reporters is lying to themselves and to you, and you must not allow them to do it. O'Donnell ripped cable news networks for carrying the event live and called it 2016 all over again, adding that outlets are making the same mistakes with their reporting as they did while covering Trump that election cycle. He also criticized reporters for not asking follow-up questions and knocked networks for fact-checking only after Trump finished speaking. But that, of course, is way too late and utterly useless, O'Donnell said. O'Donnell also knocked networks for not covering Vice President Kamala Harris's Michigan speech live after the Trump presser, noting that his network was doing Olympics coverage before bringing viewers the last few minutes of her remarks. He vowed to correct that mistake by presenting MSNBC viewers with full, unedited video of Harris's speech. All of the networks knew the speech was coming. They knew what time it was coming. They knew how to cover it live, and they didn't after giving Donald Trump more than an hour of live coverage on all of their networks. It's 2016 all over again, he said. You can check out more from MSNBC's The Last Word here. Related, Jack Smith asks for more time to mull how Trump's January 6th case should move forward. Body cam footage from assassination attempt on Trump shows frantic police response. Social media reacts to Donald Trump's wackadoodle press conference.
text asking for some inspiration for this sermon, and he sent me this. It's the top reasons beer is better than religion. Number one, when you have beer, you don't knock on people's doors trying to give it away. Number two, there are laws against forcing beer on minors who can't think for themselves. Number three, nobody's ever been burned at the stake because of their favorite brand of beer. Number four, you don't have to wait more than 2,000 years for a second beer. And last, if you've devoted your life to beer, there are groups to help you. My granddad was a Baptist preacher. I've been a member of this church since I was 2 years old, and now I'm in seminary studying to become a minister myself. My faith means more to me than anything. But if I'm being very honest, sometimes I hesitate before telling someone I'm a Christian. There is a cancer on our religion. Until we confess the sin that is Christian nationalism and exorcise it from our churches, our religion can do a lot more damage than a six-pack of Lone Star. There is nothing Christian about Christian nationalism. It is the worship of power, social power, economic power, political power in the name of Christ. And it is a betrayal of Jesus of Nazareth. He told us we would know them by their fruits. Jesus includes, Christian nationalism excludes. Jesus liberates, Christian nationalism controls. Jesus saves, Christian nationalism kills. Jesus started a universal movement based on mutual love. Christian nationalism is a sectarian movement based on mutual hate. Jesus came to transform the world. Christian nationalism is here to maintain the status quo. They have co-opted the Son of God. They've turned this humble rabbi into a gun-toting, gay-bashing, science-denying, money-loving, fear-mongering fascist. And it is incumbent upon all Christians to confront it and denounce it.
Amen.
Christian nationalism is on the rise. 2 years ago, Christian nationalists stormed the US Capitol, killing police officers while carrying crosses and signs reading, "Jesus saves." Last year, Christian nationalists on the US Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, allowing states like ours to outlaw abortion, even in cases of rape and incest. And as we speak, 2 Christian nationalist billionaires are trying to replace public schools in Texas with private Christian schooling. We are closer than we think to a Christian theocracy. How did this happen? The first followers of Jesus didn't call themselves Christians. They called themselves the Way. Their crucified teacher taught them a different way of being human, and they intended to follow it. The early church was a revolutionary community built on radical love, a peculiar people who shared all their possessions and refused to participate in the economy, the military, or the culture. The book of Acts tells us that the first Christians were persecuted for turning the world upside down. But 300 years after Jesus was executed by the Roman Empire, Emperor Constantine made Christianity the official state religion of that very same empire. Constantine was the first Christian nationalist. And ever since, the powers that be have been taming Christianity, domesticating it, diluting it into something more palatable. Pro-war, pro-wealth, pro-white supremacy. That original countercultural movement became a tranquilized, privatized, weaponized religion, the official sponsor of Western civilization. A religion of sharing became a religion of greed. A religion of peace became a religion of violence. A religion of forgiveness became a religion of judgment. A religion of ego transformation became a religion of ego affirmation. Today, Christian nationalists obsess over people's private parts while the planet burns. 8 men own as much wealth as 3.6 billion people, and Christian nationalists are boycotting Barbie. The Bible doesn't mention abortion or gay marriage, but it goes on and on about forgiving debt, liberating the poor, and healing the sick. Christian nationalists like to say this is a Christian nation. Not only is that historically inaccurate, not only is that theologically blasphemous, but it's also just not true. Look around us. If this was truly a Christian nation, we would forgive student debt. If this was truly a Christian nation, we would guarantee health care to every single person. If this was truly a Christian nation, we would love all of our LGBTQ neighbors. If this was truly a Christian nation, we would make sure every child in this state and in this country was housed, fed, clothed, educated, and insured. If this was truly a Christian nation, we would never make it a Christian nation, because we know the table of fellowship is open to everybody, including our Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, Sikh, and atheist neighbors. Jesus could have started a Christian theocracy, but love would never do that. The closest thing we have to the kingdom of heaven is a multiracial, multicultural democracy where power is truly shared among all people, something that's yet to exist in human history. Christian nationalism is not only a threat to the American experiment in democracy, it's also a threat to the gospel of Jesus Christ. When someone asked Jesus to name his most important commandment, he cheats and gives two. Two that he says are related. The first is to love God. The second, he said, is like it. Love thy neighbor as thyself. It's like it because when I recognize the divine image in myself, I can't help but recognize it in my neighbor, whether they're Christian or not, whether they're religious or not. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus specifically defines neighbor as someone different from us, racially, economically, politically, religiously. God loves diversity. God loves variety. Just look around this big, beautiful planet of ours. Do we really think God would make all these beautiful people with all their beautiful traditions for no reason at all? There are so many pathways to the sacred. The Islamic mystic Rumi said, "Every religion has love, but love has no religion." God is so much bigger than our human categories. God is not a Presbyterian. God is not a Christian. God is not a noun at all. God is a verb. God is not a being. God is being itself. God is love. And that's why Jesus is against anything that gets in the way of that love between neighbors, including religion. That's why he's always breaking religious rules. That's why he's always getting in trouble with the religious authorities. That's why he says sinners will see the kingdom of heaven before religious people do. Sorry to everyone here. I know you came all this way. Religious supremacy is antithetical to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Jesus didn't come to establish a Christian nation. He came to reveal ultimate reality, which he called the kingdom of God. But it's not like any kingdom we've ever known. Instead of a throne, Jesus sits at a table. Instead of a war horse, Jesus rides a donkey. Instead of a sword, Jesus picks up a cross. The kingdom of God inverts the power dynamics of all the kingdoms in the world. True strength is vulnerability. True status is equality. True wealth is sharing. And we as Christians are called to realize that kingdom on earth as it is in heaven, not by force, but by faith. Jesus asked us to have the faith of a mustard seed, trusting that by living and dying for love, we give birth to a better world. That's not easy to do. In a world full of fear, Jesus knew we would put our trust in something other than God, something other than love. As a Jewish rabbi, he called those things idols: money, status, and the most dangerous idol of all, power. When Jesus was tempted by the devil in the wilderness, one of the things the devil offered was power, all the kingdoms of the world, and Jesus rejected it. When his disciples asked, "Who will be the most powerful in the kingdom of God?" Jesus said, "You know the lords of the earth push their people around, but among you it'll be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be a servant." And when they still didn't get it, and they asked, "Who will be the greatest in the kingdom of God?" Jesus said, "Little children, the least powerful, but most trusting members of any human community." That's the kingdom of God. I think Chance the Rapper said it best. Don't believe in kings, believe in the kingdom. Jesus knew, in the words of Dorothy Sola, there is only one legitimation of power, and that is to share it with others. Power that is not shared, power that is not transformed into love, is pure domination and oppression. Christian nationalists are more committed to the love of power than to the power of love. And it exposes a lack of faith. Because the opposite of faith is not doubt. Doubt is a healthy part of any faith. The opposite of faith is control. When we stop trusting God, when we stop trusting love, we start taking control ourselves. Christian nationalists want to control what we read, who we marry, where we travel, when we have children. They want to control our minds and our bodies. O ye of little faith. Christian nationalists trust domination because they think domination is what works. But Jesus revealed that the true power of the universe is not domination, but love. In Taoism, they teach that over time, the soft overcomes the hard. The water wears down the rock. The wind takes out the mountain. The grass upends the concrete. The meek inherit the earth. Violence may win in the short run, but in the end, love always wins. Jesus said this kingdom of God is in our midst. It's hiding in plain sight. Heaven is already here, inside of us, above us, all around us. On my mom's side, my granddad was a Baptist preacher, but on my dad's side, my grandpa Talarico never went to church. But he was one of the most generous, compassionate, moral people I've ever met. He was an immigrant from Italy whose family saw firsthand the dangers of mixing church and state. He settled in the Texas Hill Country, and on Sunday mornings, he would take these long walks through the wildflowers and live oaks, and he would take me with him. He said it was the best chance to see God, the great outdoors. Biologists tell us that everything in nature is connected and evolving toward greater union. Anthropologists tell us that our ability to share and cooperate is humanity's superpower. And astrophysicists tell us that the universe is just gentle enough to make our existence possible. This universe of ours is nothing but gratuitous grace. Teilhard wrote that the very physical universe is love. We see it in the harmonies of music, the principles of mathematics, the patterns of nature. We are all expressions of that creative power. We are the universe becoming aware of itself. As children of God, children of the cosmos, we are loved unconditionally, indiscriminately, infinitely. No achievement can add to it. No mistake can take from it. No amount of church going or church missing can change it. That's truly deserving of the title Good News. We are made by love, with love, to love. I call that love God. You may use a different word, and that's okay. There are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. We can cure the disease of Christian nationalism. We can protect against the virus of religious extremism with healthy religion. The great faith traditions of the world have so much to offer us in this time of global crisis. Hinduism's ahimsa provides an alternative to the logic of violence. Buddhist meditation provides an alternative to the abuse of our attention. Judaism's Sabbath provides an alternative to the demands of capitalism. And in a world where everything can be bought and sold, including the earth itself, Native American traditions provide an alternative to ecological extraction. It's hard. It is so hard to protect your spirit in a world trying to kill it. That's why we need faith communities like this one. That's why we need stories and traditions and practices that heal our soul and transform our mind. Every time in this sanctuary that we say the prayers, sing the hymns, sprinkle the water, eat the bread, drink the wine, we're tuning our hearts. Our Buddhist friends tell us that compassion takes practice. Neuroscientists tell us that we can become kinder, more empathetic if we work at it. Things like love, peace, and hope, they require strength training, a gym for the heart. And so every week we gather here to sing our songs and tell our stories, just for the opportunity to, in the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, dwell in the ultimate, together, just for a moment. And that's almost better than a cold glass of beer. I invite you now to your own reflection on these words.
Well, what did you guys think of that? I actually liked that one. That was the one I really wanted you to hear. You know, I like his approach to how a person can, be a Christian, and you don't have to go to court. You don't have to be in a house, in a building to say you're a Christian. And, I was told by someone who was pretty versed in the Bible that, that the church is a place a place of fellowship where people of like values meet to fellowship together. It's, but I like this take. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a senator from Texas. I can't really remember, can't really remember what it was, but I do think that he was He's a, I don't know if he still is or whatever, but I know it was, I think it was Texas. But I kind of found that interesting because I tell everybody, you guys know that I said I'm a Christian, but I'm not the stupid Christian. I'm not the blind fox. Excuse me. Oh, I was eating something. I'm sorry. I'm not the blind follower of Christianity. You know, I'm not the one that get, if the pastor of a church says he needs $1,000, he wants every parishioner to give him $1,000. No, I'm not that kind. I'm not gonna help a pastor buy a brand new Cadillac when I take the bus. Nah, that's not gonna work. But I like his approach to it. I just thought that was kind of interesting, and I'm going to see if I can get another one. There's something else I wanted to see if it's available, because some of these things are, if you don't catch them when you can't get them. Here's one. I think.
Look, I don't think you need it, but just in case there are people out there who need a refresher on the unholy combination.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna play this one here. Of this is the chatter that I've been seeing, where the Republicans now want Donald Trump to be replaced, but I think it's kind of late. But anyway, Jesse Dollemore, he's one of the ones. He's pretty good at what he does. So I'll let y'all listen to that while I look for the other one that I want you guys to hear.
Nation of right-wing propaganda outlets and the Donald Trump campaign and the synergy they're trying to create one with another. Here you go. Yesterday, Donald Trump held a long-ranging, not wide-ranging press conference where he looks
Let me go back and see what's happening. That's not this one.
Unwell. He sounds unwell. He rambled about crowd sizes. It was just an airing of grievances for about an hour. Very weird. Even the podium didn't have a campaign header on it. It just said Mar-a-Lago Club. Very weird. And what they're doing here is attempting to distract from and squelch the momentum of the Kamala Harris-Tim Walz campaign. Tim Walz campaign. Everybody's emailing me, spell his name right, say his name right. I'm getting it. And so what they're doing is to create a distraction that a bunch of people can talk about, and people aren't talking about it in the right way, rather than point out the absolute degradation of Donald Trump's mental state and the clear danger that he poses to the United States as a candidate for president of the United States. They're just talking about the fact that he did the presser. Almost zero pushback that I could witness in the moment from the press. Just letting him ramble. The press is failing. Anyway, the press is failing on more than one front. Certainly on the Fox News front, on the Newsmax front, on the OAN front, on the New York Post front, on the Wall Street Journal front. Any property that is owned by Rupert Murdoch and others, they are failing. If their role was to try to protect America, if their role is to try to protect Donald Trump and propel him to the presidency, they're doing a fine job. I want to play this first clip, and then we're going to get to a fact check before I play Donald Trump's insane remarks. But here's Jesse Waters talking to Trump stooge Jason Miller, just just on TV, metaphorically filleting Donald Trump, saying that the presser was perfect. It was flawless. No viral moments came from it because it was just that good. Watch this.
There was nothing after this press conference that got picked up and went viral by the mainstream media that they were like, gotcha, he said this, he said that, in a negative news cycle. It was flawless. It was a flawless performance.
It was flawless. It was a flawless performance, says hairdo Jesse Waters. Here's the fact check. First of all, Donald Trump rambled about crowd sizes. He transitioned from the attempt to overthrow the United States government by way of overturning a free and fair election. He went from dispatching a mob to attack the United States Capitol to talking about crowd size and comparing his speeches to MLK's speeches. So here's the fact check before we play his clip. The March on Washington took place in August of 1963, and I want to read from the National Park Service of how many people were there. March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. It was the largest gathering for civil rights of its time. An estimated 250,000 people attended the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28th, 1963, arriving in Washington, D.C. by planes, trains, cars, and buses from all over the country. 250,000 people showed up in 1963 to hear, among others, Martin Luther King Jr., who gave his iconic and well-remembered speech now, the I Have a Dream speech. This is how many people showed up on the ellipse for the precursor to the domestic terrorist event that ended up being the insurrection against the country. This is from the USA Today, entitled, Trump Compares January 6th Crowd Size to Martin Luther King March. How many people attended the Stop the Steal rally? The House Select Committee that investigated the events of January 6th estimated that Trump's speech drew 53,000 supporters. So not 250,000, 53,000. This is what they say. From a tent backstage at the Ellipse, President Trump looked out at the crowd of approximately 53,000 supporters and became enraged, according to the 187 minutes of dereliction report. Just under half of those gathered, a sizable stretch of about 25,000 people, refused to walk through the magnetometers and be screened for weapons, leaving the venue looking half empty to the television audience at home. There's a lot to unpack there that we're not going to get to. The fact that nearly half the audience, almost half the audience, were worried about going through magnetometers because of the weapons they were carrying that they were then going to take to the Capitol to attack Capitol Police and the country. So we got the fact check out of the way. You know the numbers. 53,000 people were there in Washington for the Stop the Steal insurrection moment, and 250,000 were there in August of 1963 for the March on Washington. Here is a Donald Trump question, and I want to read the reporter's audio is too low because, you know, it's Mar-a-Lago. They don't do anything right. Here's the question he's getting ready to answer. Mr. President, you just said that it was a peaceful transfer of power last time when you left office. You didn't concede. January 6th was a violent attack. How was that a peaceful transfer of power? Do you think that the last time was a peaceful transfer of power when you left office? That's the question. Here is the answer.
If you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, I think those people were treated very harshly when you compare them to other things that took place in this country where a lot of people were killed. Nobody was killed on January 6th. But I think that the people of January 6th were treated very unfairly. And they were there to complain, not through me, they were there to complain about an election. And, you know, it's very interesting. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I said peacefully and patriotically, which nobody wants to say, but I said peacefully and patriotically. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and you've seen, Maggie, I was at the mall, I was at the Washington Monument, I was at the whole thing. I had crowds, I don't know who's ever had a bigger crowd than I have, but I had it many times. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that day. And I'll tell you, it's very hard to find a picture of that crowd. You see the picture of a small number of people relatively going to the Capitol, but you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken, I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King.
Was that flawless, Jesse Waters? Was that a flawless performance, Jesse Waters? Donald Trump is not the same. Donald Trump just tanked his campaign. I believe it's over for him. And any respectable political party would try to be doing everything they can to remove him from the ticket, to get rid of Donald Trump. Thankfully, that's not the case. Thankfully, they're going to leave this drooling goober in there, and he's going to wreck it. He's going to wreck their chances and ultimately put the final nail into the coffin of the Republican Party. Hopefully, that is the case. We'll see. But it's not good. It's not good that we even have the chance that Donald Trump could be reelected to the presidency. This is a man who needs to die in prison for his crimes against the country, against humanity in general. His feckless and corrupt performance during the pandemic alone is enough. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about this. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. If you appreciate me and you want to help support this work, if you want to help me make these videos, click the join button below. And for $2 a month, you can become a channel member. Same deal over at Patreon, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Follow me on social media if you're there. Do not sign up to follow me on social media. That is just self-abuse. I'm at Dollemore everywhere, though, if you want to do that. And I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. Too often, people in my position and people in the mainstream media don't do a good enough job drawing the distinction between our choices this November. And I've got the perfect example for you. Yesterday, Donald Trump held a press conference, a nearly hour-long press conference, where he rambled and obsessed about crowd size and did his stream of consciousness just babbling like a mental patient. It baffles me that the Republican Party is not going to step in and say, whoa, bro, you're wrecking this for us. But they're a cult. So what the dear leader wants, the dear leader gets. So I'm going to play two clips for you here. One comes with transcription that we'll look at. And then the other also comes with transcription. One is Donald Trump yesterday at the press conference, speaking extemporaneously. And the other is Kamala Harris on the campaign trail yesterday with the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union, speaking extemporaneously. And I want to juxtapose these two clips because of the stark difference in their ability to communicate ideas, to communicate a vision for the country, to communicate their love of the United States of America. It's so clear, the choice. I know that I talk about the trope or the cliche that people say that the choice is clear this November. The choice is clear this November, but I want to show you what it is. There are certainly a percentage of people out there, maybe even in MAGA world, who are a little alarmed by what they're seeing, and seeing it side by side will make a difference. So share this video or talk about these differences. This is what is important right now. First, let's go to Donald Trump's presser, him talking about the radical nature of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
We have somebody that hasn't received one vote for president, and she's running, and that's fine with me. But we were given Joe Biden, and now we're given somebody else. And I think, frankly, I'd rather be running against the somebody else. But that was their choice. They decided to do that because Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen. She picked a radical left man that is, he's got things done that he has positions that are just not, it's not even possible to believe that they exist. He's going for things that nobody's ever even heard of. Heavy into the transgender world, heavy into lots of different worlds having to do with safety. He doesn't want to have borders. He doesn't want to have walls. He doesn't want to have any form of safety for our country. He doesn't mind people coming in from prisons, and neither does she, I guess, because she's not, she couldn't care less. She's the border czar. By the way, she was the border czar 100%. And all of a sudden, for the last few weeks, she's not the border czar anymore, like nobody ever said it. And I just hope that the media becomes more diligent, more honest, frankly, because if they're not going to be honest, it's going to be much tougher to bring our country back.
It should alarm Republicans, at the very least, that he says, I think, frankly, I'd rather be running against somebody else. Give me Joe Biden back. That's who I want to run against. Kamala Harris, that's too scary for Donald Trump. But it's this portion that really needs attention. Are you ready again? Because when you watch him and you're so used to his pattern, his weird speech flow, that it doesn't come across as nutty. It's nutty. It's certainly nutty, but it doesn't come across as such. So here's what he said, just the words. I think, frankly, I'd rather be running against somebody else, but that was their choice. Are you ready? They decided to do that because Kamala's record is horrible. So the Democrats decided to replace Joe Biden on the ticket. This is what Trump thinks, because Kamala record is so horrible. Sit with that. She's a radical left person at a level nobody's seen. She picked a radical left, take a beat, man. That is, he's got things done that he has positions that are just not, it's not even possible to believe that they exist for things that nobody's seen, ever even heard of. Heavy into the transgender world, heavy into lots of different worlds having to do with safety. He doesn't want to have borders. He doesn't want to have walls. He doesn't want to have any form of safety for a country. And then, of course, you heard the rest. That's alarming that a man who wants to be president of the United States of America, colloquially referred to as the leader of the free world. If Tim Walz, I'm in the habit of saying Waltz already, so I'm trying to correct it. Stop with the emails. I know. I get in a rut and it's hard for me to get out of it. But Tim Walz, if he had these such radical positions that nobody said, oh, they're so radical, nobody's ever heard of them, you'd be able to communicate them. You'd be able to list them off in rapid succession if they're that dangerous, if they're that radical. Instead, it's just nebulous catch-can language. So let's compare what you just witnessed, this rambling, incoherent nonsense, with the Democratic nominee, or soon-to-be nominee for the presidency. And I want you to notice the free form thought that she's delivering here to a group of United Auto Worker union members, and just how together and passionate she is about the country. And what are the ideas that are communicated here? Watch Kamala Harris from yesterday.
Balance. And then the outcome will be fair. And isn't that what we're talking about in this here election? Yes. We're saying we just want fairness. We want dignity for all people. We want to recognize the right all people have to freedom and liberty to make choices, especially those that are about heart and home, and not have their government telling them what to do. Our campaign is about saying we trust the people. That's right. Yeah. We see the people. We know the people. You know, one of the things I love about our country, we are a nation of people who believe in those ideals that were foundational to what made us so special as a nation. We believe in those ideals. And the sisters and brothers of labor have always fought for those ideals. Always fought for those ideals. And we know we are a work in progress. We haven't yet quite reached all of those ideals, but we will die trying because we love our country and we believe in who we are. And that's what our campaign is about. We love our country. We believe in our country. We believe in each other. We believe in the collective. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies. And there is that. And so I say to all the members of UAW, and Sean Fain is the first who I talked to about this, I am so deeply honored as a lifelong supporter of union labor for Tim and I to have the endorsement of UAW.
The choice is clear, is it not? To keep beating the dead horse of the overused trope about the choice being clear. That is a person who loves her country, who can communicate it, who can engender passion for the United States of America, while admitting we haven't gotten there. We are not quite there yet, but we aspire to make our country better. These are ideas and ideals, as she's talking about, that I've been talking about for years. There's other ways to communicate what she's saying. It's the same thing about not letting the right usurp the flag. Don't let them adopt that. That's not theirs. It's ours. Patriotism isn't a right-wing thing. They don't have a lock on patriotism or love of our country. We do. This is our country. We can make it better. To ignore the problems of our country is to fail her. But to stay engaged, to remain passionate about the aspirational ideas that we were founded on, that were written about in the Declaration of Independence by a vile enslaver of human beings, that all men, all people, all Americans are created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All of these things we should be passionate about. And I think when you have a candidate like Kamala Harris who's communicating these ideas, she will reach a wide and varied audience of people, including Republicans, who want to hear that message. They want to hear something that will inspire them. They don't want to hear whatever nonsense Donald Trump is talking about, other than I think I'd frankly rather be running against somebody else. Anyway, I would throw it to you. I don't want to be all pie in the sky, but there's There's something to be said about someone who can speak off the cuff with such passion and emotion and love of the country she wants to lead. What do you think? Let's talk about this in the comments. That'll help YouTube to share this content to new possible viewers and subscribers. I would appreciate that. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054, or you can email me the old-fashioned way, daily@dollemore.com. If I am your flavor of political commentator and you want to help support this work, you want to help me grow this channel and make these videos, for $2 a month, you can do just that. Click the join button below, or you can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I'm on social media. If you're there as well, @Dollemore is where I can be found, and I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. Look, I don't think you need it, but just in case there are people out there who need a refresher on the unholy combination of right-wing propaganda outlets and the Donald Trump campaign and the synergy they're trying to create one with another, here you go. Yesterday, Donald Trump held a long-ranging, not wide-ranging press conference where he looks right. Aren't talking about it in the right way, rather than point out the absolute degradation of Donald Trump's mental state and the clear danger that he poses to the United States as a candidate for president of the United States. They're just talking about the fact that he did the presser. Almost zero pushback that I could witness in the moment from the press. Just letting him ramble. The press is failing. Anyway, the press is failing on more than one front. Certainly on the Fox News front, on the Newsmax front, on the OAN front, on the New York Post front, on the Wall Street Journal front. Any property that is owned by Rupert Murdoch and others, they are failing. If their role was to try to protect America, if their role is to try to protect Donald Trump and propel him to the presidency, they're doing a fine job. I want to play this first clip, and then we're going to get to a fact check before, if their role is to try to protect Donald Trump and propel.
I am attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Each and every week, we bring you at least one legal analysis of some trending story regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy this unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so you'll get notification every time we upload one of our powerful and informative videos. Before we go further, please go to Amazon, grab a copy of my book if you have an African-American son in public schools. Trust me, you want this book in your repertoire to help him be the very best he can and overcome all the many challenges that are in the public school system for African-American male students. Hey everyone, I am attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Recently, I took a look at our analytics and I noticed something shocking. Many of you watch our videos and I believe you enjoy them, but you haven't subscribed yet. What are you waiting for? Again, I was shocked because I know our content is empowering and informative. Plus, our 2024 goal is to have 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Please help us by hitting that subscribe button, especially you young folks. We particularly want to increase our number of young subscribers. Thanks for all your continued support. We appreciate it very much. That said, let's get into this. Donald Trump, all of a sudden, doesn't want anything to do with Project 2025. And that's because people are learning how horrible it is. So I want to play a video of Stephen Miller doing everything he could to try to disavow and deny knowing anything about Project 2025. But he's obviously lying. Let's go to that video.
Was I with President Trump for all 4 years at the White House in the West Wing, as you mentioned, but I also was with him in 2015, in 2016, and have continued to be in all 4 years since then. So you will not find a guest who has more authority to state categorically that Project 2025 has absolutely nothing to do with the past, present, or future. President Trump and President Trump alone will make his own policies. My organization is not on the board of Project 2025. I've never revised nor consulted it.
I just want to say as well, in fairness, the photo there, which shows you working with Heritage, and the book is in the room. And so what do you say to people who see that history and think there was a link and now it is being walked away from because of the content or the controversy of those plans?
Again, you've given me this great platform because I suspect that, and I say this with sincerity, it's not intended to be a trollish comment. I suspect that a lot of people who watch your show, who watch other shows in this network, have been bombarded with a lot of propaganda about Project 2025. So it's actually a great opportunity for me to say, Project 2025 has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the Trump campaign, a future Trump transition, a future Trump administration.
Are former Trump administration officials. For example, Ben Carson. Does Donald Trump know Ben Carson? His former HUD secretary? Christopher Miller. Does Trump know Christopher Miller, who was the Secretary of Defense? Ken Cuccinelli. Does he know Ken, who was over Homeland Security, involved with Homeland Security in some way? What about Gene Hamilton, who is a good friend of Stephen Miller and these other folks? How can he claim to not know anything about Project 2025 when some of his former officials literally wrote Project 2025? And the former director of Project 2025 is also a former Trump administration official. All right, what else? Trump claims not to know who is behind Project 2025, but a CNN review found at least 140 people who worked for him are involved in Project 2025. And so how does he claim he knows nothing about Project 2025 when all these former Trump officials either wrote the manual or are involved in Project 2025? He and Stephen Miller are flat out lying. There's more proof. Trump took a private flight with Project 2025 leader in 2022. That gentleman's name is Kevin Roberts. He is the president of the Heritage Foundation, which oversaw the writing of the manual and the policy developments and worked hand in hand with Trump administration officials. So here they are on a private jet going to a Heritage Foundation conference where Trump said, quote, they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do, close quote. That's what Trump said when he spoke at the Heritage Foundation back in 2022. He and Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, are seen here on this private airplane headed to that conference. How does Trump, with a straight face, now say he knows nothing about Project 2025? I mean, come on, give us a break here. Now, I too, if I were Trump, I would run from Project 2025 too, because it is a serious threat to our democracy as we know it. Project 2025 promotes authoritarianism, fascism. It would be a terrible thing if Donald Trump is elected and they're able to implement the policies in Project 2025. Let me just give you a very brief example. What I suggest you do is find the playlist on our YouTube channel that's entitled Project 2025. We've done multiple videos on Project 2025. The first video that I did on Project 2025 was about 8 months ago. 8 months ago. I've been warning people about Project 2025 for at least 8 months. And folks really didn't hear very much about Project 2025, didn't know much about Project 2025 until Taraji P. Henson mentioned it on the BET Awards not long ago. Thanks to Ms. Henson, because that's when folks began to go look at Project 2025. Now, what Trump was intending to do was to have the Project 2025 manual on a website. He was thinking folks would not know anything about it, although it's on the website. And if he got reelected, then he would say, well, I put it on the website. That means the American people wanted it. So I have a mandate. And so we're getting ready to implement these fascist policies. That's what he was hoping for. But Taraji P. Henson, unintentionally, I believe, disrupted that plan. And again, thanks to her. Now, here are just some of these policies that are so concerning about Project 2025. So Project 2025 talks about eliminating the Department of Education. I did an entire video on why that should not happen. Also, they're talking about eliminating the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I did a video on why that should not happen as well. Project 2025 also wants to expand presidential powers. That would be very, very, very bad for America, to give Donald Trump more presidential powers on top of, for example, the recent case where the Supreme Court granted the president absolute immunity. So this is why Project 2025 is attempting to establish an authoritarian type government. That's why Trump told a Christian group that all they had to do was vote one more time, get him elected one more time, and everything would be fixed.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
All right, Project 2025 wants to reform the so-called administrative state, the deep state, as they call it. How? So essentially, what they're hoping for is that Trump gets reelected, and then a whole lot of conservatives come from all over the country, and he hired them to replace the people who are in these federal agencies now. And I'm talking about the people that he would replace them with are very often extremely conservative and right-wing. He also wants to restructure the federal bureaucracy, as I just said, by replacing these federal workers with his own political appointees. He wants to do a lot of economic deregulation, which again goes hand in hand with eliminating the Environmental Protection Agency. How is that bad? Because if you let these corporations go without regulations, it's not going to be good for the American people, especially the most vulnerable in our country. Education policy reforms. It is just horrible what they're intending to do in education. Like I said, they want to eliminate the Department of Education. They also want to give states complete control over education. They also want to redirect funds that should go to low-income schools to schools back in these states. And we know that that money will ultimately end up in the hands of these wealthy school districts. Housing policy reforms. I did a video on that as well. And it is horrible what they are trying to do with housing policy. It certainly would not further fair housing. It would basically gut the Fair Housing Act, one of the signature civil rights laws from the 60s. Civil rights reforms. It wants to get rid of all sorts of things such as disparate impact. I did a video on that as well. That's why I'm telling you, find the playlist that is entitled Project 2025, and you will find videos of nearly everything I just went over, explaining it more in detail. So once you understand what Project 2025 is all about, you will see why Donald Trump does not need to be reelected. And you will also understand why he's doing everything he can to run away from it. He doesn't want to be associated with these policies now that people know about them. But these are the very policies and these are the very people that will be in his administration if he's reelected. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. He has to employ thousands of people to come and be a part of his administration, and he's going to look no further than Project 2025 in this manual that they got out. So this video, I wanted to show you that they're lying. Trump, Stephen Miller, and anyone else who's a part of MAGA, who's denying that Project 2025 is associated with Donald Trump, they are all lying. And they're all over the place. I see them on TikTok. I see them on Facebook. I see them on YouTube. Donald Trump knows nothing about Project 2025. It defies common sense when over 100 of your former officials are literally involved in it, and many of your former officials literally wrote the mandate. It defies common sense. Don't believe that. Trump is wedded to. He cannot get away from Project 2025. All right? So thank you for tuning in, listening to this video from start to finish. I really appreciate your support. I am Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. And until the next time, peace.
News headlines, entertainment, sports. It's the front page on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
All right, 24 minutes after the hour, y'all got your front page right here. Maria, good morning.
Here's what's happening in news. Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota held their first first joint campaign rally together in Philadelphia. Kamala Harris praised Walz going down his list of titles from coach to congressman and even military veteran. She ended his introduction, Ricky, saying, and in 91 days, the nation will know Coach Walz by another name, Vice President of the United States. Are you excited about Tim Walz? I already know the answer to that question.
Always.
What excites you the most about him?
Just that he's just a regular, like he reminds you of your high school principal. He reminds you of your high school football coach, and he was a football coach that led his team to a state championship. And he is just awesome. He's for the people. He stand up for women's rights, and he's a popular governor in the great state of Minnesota, which Trump won in 2016. That state was picked off by Joe Biden, and I think we'll definitely get his state and the state of Pennsylvania as well. Either one of those governors would have been a great choice for Kamala Harris. I'm just sick of the black people on the internet talking about I'm not with her. Okay, so if you're not with her, that means you with Trump. And y'all need to block every last one of their asses on Facebook and on Instagram and social media and stop. Like that's just garbage.
Yeah.
It's just garbage.
Can
Everybody
we be
got to
united
find,
on anything?
Can't agree on a damn bucket of chicken. One person want a hot dog.
Always
black folks get on my damn nerves, man. Why everybody making all these celebrities making all these videos going off on Kamala Harris and stuff, and then the black men, Kamala Harris didn't prosecute you and treated you bad in court. I got treated bad in court too, but I'm with her because a vote for her. If you sit at home and you don't support her, you are definitely supporting Donald Trump. You can vote for who you want to, but don't be trying to encourage other people and sit up there and put bad stuff. Where's that same energy for Donald Trump?
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm just like, don't vote for him. It is what it is.
They're not even doing, y'all not even out here doing real research. Look at her record. If you do the research or whatever, stop believing everything you read and do real research, you can see what her record is. You can see what she have done. I think you can Google what have Kamala Harris done for the black community or things that black people benefit from a lot. We need to stand with her.
Yes.
We need to stand with her. She's great.
Absolutely.
She will make a great president. And what a blessing to be living in a time where a black woman can become president of the United States of America in our time. Of the United States of America that's trying to stand up and that's going to possibly pick 2 United States Supreme Court justices or whatever to try to keep the laws in place that Thurgood Marshall and all of the people that have paved the way and try to redo and get back into some of this settled law, women's rights to choose your voting rights, and Brown versus the Board of Education. Do your homework, black
hold
people.
up. Let me just tell you something right here that could be very historic. And Kay pointed this out to me. If Kamala Harris is elected, she would be sworn in.
She could be sworn
on
in
MLK Day
by the first black Supreme
and
Court,
possibly by Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah.
Does
Stop
that
it.
not give you chills?
Come on, stop it.
Does that not send
Maria?
Just make your whole body vibrate?
Maria,
Oh my
I can go
gosh.
deep into that. You got a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated reading in a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated into the damn White House. What's wrong with y'all?
Come on, man.
MLK holiday.
But y'all mad
Baby,
because she ain't
y'all.
talking about reparations.
Who was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated?
Come on now.
Come on now.
Game,
Oh my God,
Game
that just
changer.
gave me chills.
Mm.
That gave me
Rocky.
chills.
game changer,
Rocky.
dog.
Game.
Man,
Talk about game.
y'all better come
Go
get
to
me off
sports,
this
'cause
radio
you better
today.
come get him.
Hey, you can keep going. You want to keep
Today.
going, dog? You want to keep
Today.
going?
Oh, they ain't gonna be mad at you today, Rick.
Hey,
I
man.
don't care. Well, stop me.
Go, dog.
Stop
Go.
me.
Go.
I don't care about who get mad. I know I'm right.
Exactly.
I know I'm right. Y'all need to stop. Do y'all realize Medgar Evers died for voting rights? All these people that have risked their lives from slavery up until the civil rights movement, just so we can have an opportunity to do what we do, to do what we can do. We ain't seen nothing like this since Barack Obama was running for president in 2008. We need to stop.
The great John Lewis.
Right. John Lewis and Ralph
Abernathy.
All of these people that have paved the way for us. We are the new civil rights leaders. We got to get behind people like Ben Crump and Kamala Harris and all these people out here that's doing, like Roland Martin and all of these people that's out here, and Joy Reid. If you want to be educated, if you really want to know the truth, all you got to do is turn to MSNBC and watch Joy Reid, and she gonna give you a whole history lesson every night on MSNBC, and then after that, Rachel Maddow. All you gotta do is just watch.
And it's not opinion, it's facts.
Don't do this right here.
Yeah, and
don't be on the internet doing Kamala Harris like that.
Yeah,
I don't care what issue you got with black women. Your mama's a black woman. How about that? Let's start there. I don't care what and I'm talking to the men right here. Your mother is a black woman. Don't forget that. Don't forget that your sister is a black woman. And as a black man, I stand proudly with Kamala Harris this morning with tears in my eyes. It means so much to me. Do you know that lady picked up the phone and called me when my son died? How about that? How about how personal her and Joe Biden has been? How about Joe Biden wrote me a letter naming my grandkids and naming my son's name in a personal handwritten letter? How kind, how thoughtful, how genuine, they're just genuine and sincere. And I love people like that. And if anybody, the person that got killed at the Trump rally, who do you think called that man's wife to offer his condolences? Joe Biden did. Joe Biden did. Trump didn't call him, and he took a bullet at a Trump rally. These are kind, loving people. If you look at their policy, you'll know what's going on. We need to stop, black people. Stop it. Stop attacking Kamala Harris. Stop it with the self-hatred. Even if you don't agree with everything she do, what do you think she can do as the vice president? She ain't not in control of the Congress and the Senate. If you know how government works, come on. Come on. We got an opportunity here of a lifetime. We'll be dead and gone, but we can say our generation, because we're not going to live ever, that we voted a black man and a black woman to become president of the United States. That's history. This is what Dr. King died for. This is what Medgar Evers died for. This is what Rosa Parks went to jail for. All of the sacrifices that black people had to make. Your grandmother's cleaning up white people's house and cleaning and scrubbing floors and doing all of this stuff. All these black people made all these sacrifices for us. Well, we can have this opportunity, and then you get a woman, now you want to question her race and question her ability and all this stuff. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we like this? What is wrong? And I'm sitting here, I should be voting for Trump with the tax bracket that I'm in. But if I have to pay more taxes in order to do what's right, just where somebody else can have food in their mouth and do the right thing or whatever, I want to be on the right side of history. And I mean this. I'm not, I just been holding my peace. I ain't been saying nothing. But man, some of these videos are disturbing. And these memes are disturbing what we as a people doing to each other. We need to stop. We need to stop. And I'm done. We're going to have her on the show. We're going to support her on this show. We're going to support her. And I cannot wait, if God let me live to see a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated swear in a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Man, as being in the Greek family myself, man, listen. Come on, y'all. Come on.
You preaching
Kamala
this morning,
Harris.
Ricky.
I'm sorry, Maria.
We with you, dog,
No,
and we
don't be.
with her. We needed
sorry.
that. Come on, dog. We needed that. And they needed that.
That put tears in my eyes. And I'm not just saying that, man. I've been out here on the trail, civil rights movement since '79 when Bonita Carter got killed, shot in the back by a white police officer. I've been a lifetime member of the NAACP and the SELCI. I'm on regular text messages and calls with civil rights leaders all over the country. I've been involved. I do comedy and crack jokes on stage, but you don't know what I do behind the scenes. I was behind the scenes when Barack Obama ran. I was behind the scenes in the Bill Clinton campaign, in the Al Gore campaign, in the Joe Biden campaign, my whole life, even when I wasn't even old enough to vote. When I wasn't old enough to vote, I was still behind the scenes working just where I can leave something to my kids and the generation after that, doing my part, using my platform that I built to try to do what's right and not make this thing about me, but make this thing about the rights of the next generation. Come on, y'all. More Rick Smiley Morning Show coming up.
Anyway, so I don't know if y'all did it. He talking about black folks. Yeah, I don't know why this won't let me have y'all come up. Let me see if I can do it again, because I don't know why this. It says cut copy. Yeah. Paste. 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 Let me see what my nose is itching. It won't let me for some reason. I don't know what this thing is doing, but it won't let me. I tell you every time I do something. But anyway, y'all got the gist of what I was trying to say. If y'all want to say anything, write it on here. Write it on in the comments, because for some reason it will not let me. I don't know. Let me see something. Okay, that's that. Yeah. So I got the disclaimer on. But anyway, do y'all got anything y'all want to say? Anything y'all want to hear or whatever? Crowd size, don't Trump, Let me see. Kamala's A-list backers. Let's listen to the other.
For Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, it was business as usual today.
He was in Greene County discussing workforce investments, but reporter Bob Mayo joins us live. And Bob, you got to ask him about the decision made by Kamala Harris not to pick him as her running mate.
That's right. Governor Shapiro was here at the United Mine Workers Career Center. This was to talk about the millions of dollars now in the state budget for workforce development and job training. We got to ask him specifically on his own personal reflections on having been considered as Kamala Harris's running mate and his thoughts about going forward since he was not picked.
I always said that the vice president had a deeply personal decision to make as to who she wanted to select as a running mate. In the end, I had a deeply personal decision to make as well. I love being governor of Pennsylvania. And as I said here in the remarks today, I believe every Pennsylvanian should have the freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed. And in the end, it was important to me to be able to chart my own course.
When asked to clarify what he meant by this being a deeply personal decision for himself as well as for Harris, he said he was not going to get into discussing their private conversations. He had nothing but good things to say about Minnesota Governor Tim Walz being Harris's selection for a running mate.
I think Tim Walz is a great pick. He's a terrific governor and he's a friend. And I think he and Vice President Harris are going to make a dynamic team. And as you heard me say the other night at a rally in Philly, I'm going to be doing everything in my power to see to it that they win the election.
Some Republicans have been attempting to spin Shapiro's not being selected as a sign of anti-Semitism. Shapiro says that is absolutely not the case, that it is false. Reporting live in Greene County, Bob Mayo, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
Well, he said that's not true. So, which I believe it isn't true, because if that were true, she would have never picked him. Well, at least that's what I say. I see he's going in here for Jared Shapiro Union to endorse Howard. Let's see. I'll let y'all see one more. I like Shapiro. I thought sure she was going to take Shapiro,
Managers,
but she didn't.
all my business managers, come on up here. Yeah, exactly. Good, beautiful day.
Good day for a rally, huh? Good day. Rally to save democracy, right?
That's right. Good morning. Good morning. It's a great day. It's a great day to have a political rally, isn't it? And all of our speakers today can complete a full sentence without cursing. Before we start, I want to take a moment of silence to underscore just how important this event is for the Philadelphia building trades in front of the Pat Gillespie building. We lost a member, Matt Halloran of Local 14. It just lets you know how important worker safety is and why we need OSHA, and we can't have those other clowns eradicate OSHA. So give me a moment of silence for Matt Halloran. Thank you. We'd like to welcome you here today on this momentous occasion. And first, before we get to where we're going, I'm going to give an honor to the best union president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden. Let there be no mistake that we will not allow the history books to be written without them putting Joe Biden and his love of country at the top of the thing. Joe Biden said it better than any of us could say it. He said, I revere this office, but I love my country more. And it was time for him to turn over the country to a new generation of leaders. And the Democratic Party has them in spades. All of our leadership, the talent that we have, it is almost unfair, the talent we have. Some of it is up on stage tonight. Our first woman speaker, Joanna McClinton. At some point, we'll be joined by the first female mayor, Sherelle Parker. And we have a special guy. It ain't about him today. But the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And we hadn't had a governor in our mansion like we have right now. He's special. In this budget alone, he prioritized education with the House, with Jordan Harris here. Jordan. We got talent. I just forget about them. They falling out my pocket. Jordan Harris, the appropriations chairman. Where are you, Jordan? In this budget, Jordan, get up here, man. Come on. They prioritize people. Look at the investments they made into our schools. Look at the site fund to put our people back to work. $400 million. 500 million. See, the governor. That's a $500 million. Listen, the working union people have never had a governor had our back like Josh Shapiro.
Hey.
And while this isn't about Josh, he would look good on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's all I'm doing.
All right, thank you very much.
That's enough. That's enough. But we hear about the prosecutor, the woman that knows people like Donald Trump. She prosecuted sex offenders. He is one. She prosecuted kind men. He is one. She is the right person at the right time for this job to take America forward. And I'm going to put all this to bed about qualifications. I want to put our qualifications up against Donald Trump. He inherited money. He had 2 failed casinos when Atlantic City and Vegas were the only place you can gamble. How do you mess that up? He did. He went bankrupt more times than I care to count. And she was a prosecutor in San Francisco, ran for that one. The largest state in our country is California. She was the AG of California. Then she was the senator from the state of California. She ran all them. That California is like a mini economy in and of itself. She is one of the most qualified candidates ever to run for this office. And let no one let you know that that is a sexist trope that they're doing. If that was a man with that, they'll say, oh, this is an experienced person. But we're going to have her back. As you look out here, look at the diversity, look at the gender diversity, the ethnic diversity, the generational diversity. We have it all. And there's a palpable excitement throughout this country. Look at the fundraising she's doing. We have Kamala Harris's back. The state party under our great leader, Senator Sharif Street. Now, you know the Democrats, we got many tenths for everything. But that call was unanimous in endorsing Kamala Harris because she's the right person.
Amen.
And I'm so proud to stand here representing over 40,000 construction workers, public employees, refinery workers, every type of worker you want to name in this region. And we're going to use all of our time, our talent, and our treasure to elect the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris. Joe Biden and Harris made it possible for us to have pre-apprenticeship programs so we could bring African Americans, Latinos, and women into the building trades. This isn't what they said they were going to do, like Trump, an empty promise. This is what they did. And showcasing that is our own Aaron Hoffman, director of the Finishing Trades Institute and WINK, Women in Construction. Aaron.
Everybody needs a Ryan. I didn't know I was talking today, but he said I look beautiful. I need a button of them on my mirror. This vote is so important. Pre-apprenticeship programs, DE&I efforts for the building trades. This is what we need. Our job sites and our workforce has to look like the neighborhoods that we live in and that we represent. Programs like WINK, Women in Non-Traditional Careers, give women in the city of Philadelphia and surrounding counties the opportunity to do just that. They get to apply and thrive in the Philadelphia Union building trades. So make sure you vote.
All right. Good job, Aaron. And I see all this symbol press. I want you to write this. The building trades is now diverse on a workforce and our leadership. I'm going to bring up to you a business manager, which is the highest elective office in building trades. Tricia Virgo, the business manager of our IT Local 8. Tricia.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Ryan Boyer, Wayne Gallagher for inviting me to speak today. I am Tricia Barnes-Vargo, first female business manager by ATSI, Local 8 Station, and first female business manager to sit on the Philadelphia building trades. The values we hold dear as union members. Her dedication to workers' rights, her relentless pursuit of justice, and her vision for a fair and equitable society make her an ideal candidate to lead our nation. Throughout her career, Kamala has been a fierce advocate for labor. She understands the importance of strong unions and has fought tirelessly to ensure that workers have the rights and protections they deserve. From supporting legislation that increases wages and improves working conditions to standing up against corporate interests
weeks ago, I had the privilege of hearing our mayor give a passionate speech about the keeping of receipts. Well, when it comes to Governor Shapiro, IBW Local 98 and Philadelphia Building Trades, we keep receipts too. Before he was governor, Josh Shapiro spent time in the State House where he demonstrated an exceptional ability to work across the aisle, earning the position of Deputy Speaker of the House. During his tenure, he championed worker initiatives and maintained perfect voting records with labor. When Josh moved from the House, he successfully flipped the Montgomery Board of Commissioners, putting Democrats in control for the first time.
That's right.
Once again, Josh didn't just focus on politics. He immediately passed responsible contractor language level days.
Through the ranks. Someone who has achieved all that she's achieved. She's never turned her back on the people that the mayor and the speaker and all of the union leaders here are fighting for every day. And thanks to her and President Biden, more people went to work in America today than ever before.
Yes.
Thanks to her and President Biden, we are poised to be here in Pennsylvania, the national leader when it comes to clean energy for the future of our country, right here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I said it, Jimmy Snell. Thanks to her, when tragedy struck our region, when that road on I-95 collapsed, my first call was with Ryan Boyer to say, can we muster the soldiers to get out there and get people moving again? And the second call came from the Biden-Harris administration. And they simply said, what do you need? They delivered everything they need. They took a city that was down on its knees and lifted us back up. And that's the same thing Kamala Harris is going to do for this country. Again, you could not have a clear contrast in this race. You could not have a clear contrast between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And let me tell you something. He's pretty afraid. Y'all see, he's backing out of the debate now. He's afraid to stand toe-to-toe with our vice president. And you know why that is? It's not just because she's leader. It's not just because she's got the right positions on the issues that matter most to the good people of Pennsylvania and this country. It's because he can't run away from his record any longer.
Yeah.
Think about it. 4 years as president. Guy stacks the NLRB with a bunch of corporate folks who have tried to rip away your rights every step of the way. We can't go back to that, and he can't defend that. Think about this. This guy went to the Supreme Court of the United States, a place where me and my office have been to stand up for people's fundamental rights and freedom. A place where Kamala Harris, as Attorney General in California, went to stand up to expand the freedoms for the good people of this nation. Donald Trump went to court, the Supreme Court, and asked to make this nation a right-to-work nation. Let me be clear, I'll never let Pennsylvania be a right-to-work state. And Kamala Harris will never let this nation be a right-to-work nation. And it's not just in these big halls of power that Donald Trump has tried to screw over our nation. In our restaurants and bars, when I served as your Attorney General, Donald Trump as president literally tried to put a federal rule in place to make it so when you tip your waiter, your waitress, your bartender, that they wouldn't get to keep those tips. That instead it would go to the back of the house, it would go to the restaurant owner. This is who it is, screwing over the little guy for the corporate interest. The good news is we went to court, we beat him, and our waiters and our waitresses, our bartenders, they were protected. You see, whether as president where he worked directly against working folks, or whether as a businessman who quite literally screwed over the workers who were building our high rises, our casinos, and so many other things that dot the East Coast of the United States. He has shown us who he is, right? When folks tell you who they are, Madam Mayor,
Believe him the
first time.
Believe him the first time.
We don't need to give him the keys to the White House so that he can continue to rip away our freedoms, so he can continue to attack this great nation. I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little sick and tired of this guy going on TV every day, shit talking America.
Yeah.
Think about this for a minute. We are producing more energy in America than ever before, giving us more freedom, more prosperity than ever before. Our economy is growing faster than any other economy in the world, and we are out competing China for the first time in generations, giving us more freedom and more opportunity. Union brothers and sisters like you and many more across this country. This morning in America, when folks woke up, more people went to a job than ever before, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration. And so I got a message to Donald Trump. Stop shit-talking America. Stop attacking our workers. Stop limiting our freedom and start standing up for righteousness, for goodness, and for the American people. The person who is best equipped to do that in this election, the person we are going to unite behind in order to accomplish that, is the Vice President of the United States, our next president, our 47th president, a dear friend of mine, a dear friend of Philadelphia's, Kamala Harris. Are y'all with me? Let's get this done, Philly. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions. Any questions? All right. There you go, right there. And first, before we get to where we go,
Well, there you have it. That was a little extra that I put on there. It really wasn't supposed to be but about 20 minutes long, but I thought y'all might like to hear it. So, and please excuse me, I'm picking at my nose and everything. My nose is dry because this allergy is running here. So I know some smart ass gonna say something, but anyway, I got to go. And you could go over to Vic's channel. Well, he's over now. I didn't know he had did this because I wasn't supposed to do this till 8 o'clock tonight. But lately I've been going to bed early and sleeping all through the night. But anyway, I got another one coming up. So I'll be doing that. I'm going to end this stream. And I hope y'all like it. Spread the word. Share it if you want to. Got to get the word out because Trump got to go. If y'all got anything to say, for some reason, I don't know. Whenever I talk about Trump, shit goes wrong with this damn computer. I've been doing stuff all day, off and on, and it's been working right. But I think y'all got the total message of what I was talking about. So I'm going to end the stream until the next time. Nice seeing everybody. Later.